Let's go to lesson 3. From questions to research design. And this is about choosing quantitative or qualitative approaches. Let's begin. Two graduate students walk into their advisor's office. Both have the same interest, student engagement in online learning. The first student, Alex, says, I want to know whether online discussion boards actually improve students' performance. His advisor nods. That's a measurable question. Alex is guided toward surveys and statistical analysis. The second student, Laila, says, I want to understand how students feel about online discussions. Do they feel connected, isolated, inspired, or frustrated? Her advisor nods too. That's an interpretative question. Laila is guided towards interviews and thematic analysis. Same broad topic, same population, but their questions were different and their designs had to be different too. That's what we are exploring in this lesson. Once you know your research question, the next step is deciding what kind of evidence will best answer it. Design isn't about personal preference alone. It's not about whether you like statistics or storytelling. Design follows the question, flows from the question. So the design question is, what kind of evidence do you need? When you craft a research question, you are really deciding what kind of knowledge you want to produce. So if you want to know how much, how many, what effect, or what relationship, that's a quantitative design. But if you want to know how, why, what meaning, or what process, that's a qualitative design. Think of design choice like choosing a lens for a camera. Quantitative research is like a wide angle lens. It captures patterns across the whole landscapes. Qualitative research is like a zoom lens. It focuses in closely on rich detail. Neither is superior, both are essential, and both answer different dimensions of the same human story. Let's look at quantitative research design first. The wide angle lens. Quantitative research is built on numbers, it's built on measurement and testing, and its goal is generalization. The core features of this design includes one, a very structured instrument like a survey, test, or experiment, a larger sample that allows for broader claims, a hypothesis that can be tested or confirmed or rejected, and a statistical analysis that shows patterns and relationships. Here's a simple example. There's a 10-minute mindfulness intervention reduce test anxiety among graduate students. The independent variable there is whether or not students receive the intervention. The dependent variable is their test anxiety scores. The hypothesis is whether students who receive the intervention will in fact report lower anxiety scores. Or consider, for example, another topic. Does time spent on task predict exam performance? Of course, here you have to take into consideration hours of study logged and exam scores, which can be measured, and correlation or relationships can be tested. So quantitative design provides precision and generalizability. It allows you to say students who spend more time studying are more likely to succeed academically. But notice its limits. Quantitative design cannot tell you what it feels like to be anxious before an exam. It cannot capture the inner struggles or the coping stories. For that, we need another approach: qualitative research design. This is the zoom lens. Qualitative research is built on words, stories, contexts. Its goal is depth of understanding. Lalim, hindi lawak. The core features of this study includes one, an open-ended data collection such as interviews, focus groups, observations, or even textual analysis. There's also a smaller purposeful, which means uh, selected for a reason, uh, chosen for richness rather than representativeness. Riches rather than representativeness. And also the exploratory approaches that build theory from the ground up. This also includes thematic, narrative, or discourse analysis for that matter. So, for example, how do graduate students describe their experiences of test anxiety? Here, we're not interested with numerical scores. We want to hear their stories. And one student might describe sleepless nights, another might recall shaking hands before an exam, and another might talk about cultural stigma around asking for help. Or consider this question: what classroom practices support bilingual students' engagement in online learning? Through observation and interviews, you might see that peer collaboration or instructor feedback shapes engagement more than the platform itself. Qualitative design provides texture and meaning. It brings voices and contexts into focus, but it cannot, on its own, establish broad generalizations. So you'd wonder, what happens when both are needed? Sometimes one lens isn't enough. Zoom, wide lenses. That's when researchers turn to what we call mixed methods. Take the example of remote learning and engagement. A quantitative survey of 300 students might show that engagement scores are lower online than in person. But qualitative interviews with 15 students explain why there are feelings of isolation, Zoom fatigue, and reduced accountability. Together, the two approaches provide both breadth and depth. And common mixed methods models would include what we call explanatory sequential, so quantitative first, then qualitative to explain, or what we call exploratory sequential, qualitative first, then quantitative to test, or what we call convergent design, which are both collected at once, then they're just integrated. No? So explanatory sequential, quanti-quali, exploratory sequential, quali-quanti, and convergent design, both collected at once. Mixed methods is like having both the wide angle and the zoom lens on your camera. You see the big picture and the intimate details at the same time. But to implement the mixed method, you need to know both. Both the rigors of quanti and the rigors of quali. Of course, many students fall into predictable traps when choosing a design. Some choose based on preference, not on the question. They say, I like interviews, so I'll do qualitative, but that may not fit their question. Or some force qualitative questions into quantitative molds, or quantitative ones into qualitative molds. Some write questions so broad that neither approach is possible. How does technology affect learning? It's not a research question, it's a book title. Some even ignore feasibility. They dream of surveying 10,000 students without the means to do so. A good design avoids these traps by staying aligned. The question dictates the design. To illustrate that vague question, how does technology affect learning, can be refined in two ways. Quantitatively, it can be refined as, does use of an online tutoring platform improve math scores among 10th graders? Or qualitatively, it can be expressed as, how do 10th graders describe their experiences using an online tutoring platform? Notice how clarity emerges once the question is refined, and how the design naturally follows from all this. Let's return to Carlos, a student that we met in lesson 1 and lesson 2. Carlos was fascinated by artificial intelligence in education. And at first, his question was far too broad. How can AI transform classrooms? But as he read more, he refined his focus. He noticed that AI has been studied extensively in math and science classrooms, but very little in bilingual education. From that, Carlos saw two clear pathways. A quantitative path that asks, does using AI chatbots improve test scores in bilingual classrooms compared to traditional tutoring? and a qualitative path that asks how do bilingual students describe their experiences with AI chatbots. Both were legitimate. Both were rigorous. The choice depended on the kind of evidence he wanted to produce. That is the beauty of research design. The same curiosity can lead to multiple approaches. What matters is alignment. Alignment. Let's step back. Alex, Laila, and Carlos, three students, three different journeys. And their choices reminds us of the essential principle. Design follows question. Design follows question. Not preference, not convenience. The question comes first. The design comes next. So here is your task after this lecture. Take the research question you drafted from the previous lesson, and for each, decide whether it is best answered with quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods. Write 2 to 3 sentences justifying your choice and submit your work on Canvas. Namamatay na yung light ko. Because this is the flow of graduate research. No read, no write. From reading comes the question, and from the question comes the design. And once your design is aligned with your question, you are ready to move forward into data collection. Let's work on this one, on your assignment, on your task, and see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much and have a good day, everyone.